Hello and welcome to the Kerrang Podcast Day 2. It gives me great pleasure to introduce you to David Ellefson of Megadeth. How are you doing today?
Great, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. So what can we expect from today's set?
Man, we've got too many songs to choose from, which is a good problem to have. We have kind of our standard Megadeth set, which has a lot of the hits and the classics. But then we've, of course, added, there's the Endgame record, which we want to play a couple tunes off that. But then there's also this Rust in Peace 20th anniversary, which... once we started that, we've kind of opened the can of worms, you know what I mean? So everybody, everywhere now wants us to play that. So we put together a cool little set here today for download.
So a very good mix of everything.
Yeah, cool. Exactly, yep.
Yeah, so how's it being back in the band after,
you know, it's been great. It's really been good. In fact, a lot of ways, you know, Dave and I have been able to have a friendship now that we weren't able to have before, and not only because we started the band when we were very young, and of course when you're in a band, you know, that takes precedent, and that's the first thing, but I think some time away from each other, we're able to kind of reacquaint and just become friends together, you know, hang, we got families now, so we got a lot of other interests and things, and it's funny, you know, aside from having the same first name, we're very much alike in a lot of other ways, so there's a lot of similarities, and our lifestyles are, you know, pretty similar in a lot of ways. So it's cool, and that was nice to have that really develop, because we spent a lot of time together, obviously, on the road, and if the only thing you have in common is just standing on stage playing your guitars together, that's kind of an empty existence, you know. So it's nice now that Dave and I have been able to really, you know, start up I'd like kind of a new friendship, to be honest with you, you know.
That's great.
Yeah.
A lot of people say being in a band's like, you know, married to 3 or 4 other guys. Have you learned to now you've had such a history together, have you learned how to nip arguments or disagreements?
Yeah, and I tell you what's nice this time for me coming back, Sean Drover, who's the drummer in Megadeth, is a wonderful guy. You know, I tell you, he is, he's a solid guy. He's very much a grown-up, you know, he doesn't run around like some kid trying to be a rock star, you know what I mean? And so he really knows how to handle himself well, and I kind of always liken it like, if Dave's in the middle, he's now got 2 pontoons on, you know, pontoon on each side, which kind of smooths the ride out, you know, because I don't care who you are, man, the ride in rock and roll can get a little bumpy from time to time, you know, so it's really good that we've got both, I think me and Sean, of course, Chris Broderick is a fantastic guitar player, so musically he's able to really recreate the former guitar player's material with great respect and to great perfection, but also he's a fantastic performer. I've really had a lot of fun getting to know Chris and now being on stage with him and playing. So there's just really a really cool dynamic in Megadeth right now. Yeah.
So you know a lot of bands here today. Who are you going to be hanging out with the most, do you think?
You know, the Lamb of God guys, of course, are wonderful. You know, cool guys and ferocious band too. Man, I mean, out of all the bands I've seen of the new bands coming out, you know, in recent years, man. They're like scary. They're scary good. Yeah. So them, of course, Five Finger Death Punch. And man, to be honest with you, I know there's a ton of bands playing over on all these other stages, but you know, I think it's one of these things at download. There's so many bands that I think you almost have to get your set done, then you can go, and then you can be like, okay, now what can I go do? Yeah. So do the hang afterwards.
Yeah, definitely. The final thing, you're going to be joining the Sonosphere tour in Europe, and you'll be doing 7 dates with, you know, the big 4.
Sure.
Did you ever think that would ever happen?
You know, I kind of hoped that it would, and it's interesting because I heard about that. You know, there's been the talks and discussions of that now for a few months. So as it was starting to develop and happen, I was like, oh man, that is so cool. And that's why this year, 2010, is just a wonderful year for that to happen. Of course, Megadeth being back here at Download, 30th anniversary. Here is Griller. And then going on to the American Carnage stuff with Slayer, Megadeth, Testament in the United States. I mean, just what a great year, not only just for us bands, but for the fans. I mean, for our whole thrash metal legacy, our movement, man. Because we're a tribe, you know, of us, the bands and the fans, we hang together. So it's just a great year for all of us.
Cool. Well, a lot of English fans can see it in the cinemas on June the 22nd.
June 22nd? Yeah, how cool is that? You know, you get to go. Man, if I could have gone to see some of my favorite bands as a kid, you know, to go hang and see them at the movie theater would have been great. So gotta love technology.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
See you, man.